Happy Money, The Japanese Art of Making Peace with Your Money, by Ken Honda. Introduction. Imagine you're at a party, surrounded by the low hum of conversation and laughter. You've just met someone new, a woman with a calm and knowing presence. You chat for a few minutes, and then she asks you something completely unexpected. She looks at you, not with judgment, but with genuine curiosity, and says, "May I see your wallet?" You might be taken aback. But you're in a safe place, so with a little hesitation, you hand it over. You expect her to glance at your ID or maybe comment on the wallet itself. Instead, she opens it, goes straight for the cash, and begins carefully taking out every single bill. She holds each one, assessing it quietly. "This one's good," she murmurs to herself. "This one is smiling. This one too." You're confused. Is she looking for some kind of secret mark, a hidden code on the bills? After a moment, she carefully organizes the cash in a way you've never seen before, puts it all back inside, and hands the wallet back to you with a gentle smile. "Congratulations," she says. "All of your money looks good." You let out a breath you didn't realize you were holding. "That's great to hear," you reply, "but what exactly were you looking for?" She looks you in the eye and says something that will change the way you see the world forever. "Oh, I was just checking to see if your money was smiling." Smiling money? What could that possibly mean? This is the very experience that Ken Honda, Japan's best-selling Zen millionaire, had years ago. It was the moment that sparked a revelation, one that has since transformed the lives of millions. Ken Honda isn't your typical financial guru. Before this book sold millions of copies around the world, he was already a legend in Japan. He built his own successful consulting business and, by the age of 29, had achieved a level of financial freedom that allowed him to make a radical choice. He retired to stay home and raise his newborn daughter. It was during these quiet, happy days that he discovered his true calling, not just to be wealthy, but to help others find peace and prosperity. And it all comes back to that simple, profound question: is your money smiling? What if money wasn't just a number in a bank account? What if it wasn't just paper or coins, but a form of energy, an energy that can be happy or sad, laughing or crying, depending on how it's earned, given, and received? By the end of our time together today, you'll have a completely new relationship with money. You'll understand the hidden stories and deep-seated emotions that dictate how you feel about it every single day. And more importantly, you'll discover the simple, powerful keys to transforming that relationship from one of stress, fear, and scarcity into one of joy, gratitude, and true abundance. You will learn how to make your money smile. Book summary. So, let's start with that foundational idea. Two kinds of money: happy money and unhappy money. Happy money is the feeling behind a child using their allowance to buy flowers for their mom. It's the sense of pride a family feels when they save up, penny by penny, to send their kid to a camp they've been dreaming of. Happy money flows with love, care, and friendship. It's the money you receive from a client who is genuinely thrilled with your work. It's the donation you make to a cause that touches your heart. When money is exchanged with these positive emotions, gratitude, joy, appreciation, it becomes happy money. It makes people feel seen, cared for, and connected. In many ways, it becomes an active form of love. Then there's unhappy money. And we all know this one intimately. It's the money you use to begrudgingly pay your rent, your taxes, or that credit card bill with the impossibly high interest rate. It's the salary you receive from a job you can't stand, but feel trapped in. It's the money exchanged in a bitter divorce, charged with resentment and anger. Any money that circulates with frustration, sadness, despair, or guilt is unhappy money. This kind of money makes us feel stressed, desperate, and sometimes even violent. It weighs us down. Here is the most important part of this entire idea. It is not how much money you have that determines whether it's happy or unhappy. It is the energy with which it is given and received. A billionaire can be drowning in a sea of unhappy money, constantly stressed, paranoid, and fighting to keep up with others. At the same time, someone with a very modest income can be living in a joyful flow of happy money, feeling grateful for everything they have and everything they can give. The choice, Ken Honda tells us, is ultimately ours. We can choose which flow we want to live in. But if it's that simple, why are so many of us stuck in the flow of unhappy money? Why do we spend so much of our precious time and energy worrying about it, resenting it, and feeling like we never have enough? The answer, like most things in life, goes back to our childhood. Ken Honda's own money story was shaped by a profound tragedy. His father was a successful accountant, and as a young boy, Ken would serve tea to his father's clients. He was fascinated by the world of business and started to notice patterns. Some clients grew more prosperous over time, arriving in nicer suits and more expensive cars. Others seemed to move in the opposite direction. But even among the wealthy, he saw two distinct types: those who were peaceful and content, and those who were always irritated, rushed, and anxious. One afternoon, he came home from school to find a sight he had never seen before. His stoic father, the man who taught him martial arts and how to stand up to bullies, was crying uncontrollably. His mother explained that one of his father's clients, a man who had come begging for a loan just days earlier, had murdered his entire family and then taken his own life. My father had initially refused the loan, not out of cruelty, but because he wanted to prevent the money from going straight to loan sharks. He had fully intended to help the man later, in a more constructive way. But it was too late. My father blamed himself for the tragedy. He fell into a deep depression, and the smile disappeared not just from his face, but from their entire families. For the first time, young Ken realized that money could do more than bring success. It could destroy lives. It carried a dark, heavy power. That day, a seed was planted in his mind. He would learn everything he could about money, not just to become wealthy, but to understand its true nature, so his own family would never suffer a similar fate. This is what Ken calls our money blueprint. It's the set of beliefs, fears, and habits around money that were written into our minds when we were too young to question them. Most of us don't have a conscious memory of learning about money. We just absorbed it. We absorbed our parents' hushed, anxious conversations about bills at the kitchen table. We heard them say, "We can't afford that," or "money doesn't grow on trees." We felt the tension in the house when finances were tight. Perhaps you remember wanting something badly: a toy, a class, a trip, and being told no. For some, the answer was a simple, "We don't have the money," but for others, the wound was deeper. Some parents, out of their own shame or frustration, might say things like, "It would just be a waste of money on you," or worse, "I'd be rich if it weren't for you kids." A child who hears that doesn't just learn that money is scarce, they learn that they are the cause of the scarcity. They internalize the belief that they are a burden, a waste of money. These early experiences create our money blueprint. They become the unconscious rules that govern our financial lives as adults. We are influenced not just by our parents, but by our grandparents as well. If they lived through the Great Depression, they likely passed down a deep-seated fear of scarcity, a belief that you must hoard every penny because disaster could strike at any moment. That fear was passed to your parents, and then, quietly, it was passed to you. This hidden blueprint controls so much of our lives without us even realizing it. It affects who we marry, the careers we choose, and the decisions we make every single day. And until we bring it out into the light and examine it, we will remain trapped by its old, outdated rules. So, how do these hidden blueprints manifest in our daily lives? Ken Honda identifies what he calls money EQ, or emotional intelligence around money. He argues that this is far more important than money IQ, which is the technical knowledge of investing and budgeting. You can have a PhD in economics and still be a wreck financially if your money EQ is low. He noticed that our emotional relationship with money tends to fall into a few common patterns, or personality types. As I describe them, see if one or two of them sound a little familiar. First, there's the compulsive saver. This person's favorite hobby is saving money. They are experts at bargain shopping. They know every trick to cut costs, and they feel a deep sense of security watching their bank account grow. But this obsession with saving often comes from a place of fear, a fear of money running out. They may have grown up in poverty or witnessed a financial disaster, and they've sworn never to let that happen to them. The tragedy is that they often save so much, they forget how to enjoy life. They never spend the money they worked so hard to accumulate, because the fear of losing it is always greater than the joy of using it. On the opposite end of the spectrum is the compulsive spender. This person loves the feeling of spending money. For them, money is meant to be used, and they embrace the motto "you only live once." They are often generous, fun, and the life of the party. But this need to spend often masks low self-esteem. The act of buying something provides a temporary feeling of control, recognition, and self-worth. They are trying to fill an emotional void with material things, but the relief is fleeting. Interestingly, Ken notes that compulsive spenders are often raised by compulsive savers. Their behavior a rebellion against the suffocation they felt in a frugal household. Then we have the compulsive moneymaker. This person is laser-focused on earning as much as possible. They live for the approval and recognition that comes with financial success. They believe they are doing it all for their family, but they often sacrifice time with their loved ones in pursuit of the next deal, the next promotion, the next milestone. No matter how much they make, it's never enough, because what they're really chasing is external validation, and that is a hunger that can never be satisfied. There's also the indifferent to money type. These are often academics, artists, or public servants who are so passionate about their work that they barely think about money at all. They often leave the financial management to a partner and are happily unconcerned with it. This can be a blissful state to live in, but it can lead to disaster if the person managing their finances is suddenly gone. And finally, there's the hippie. This person believes money is inherently bad, the source of all the world's problems. They avoid selling out and try to live a life as disconnected from money as possible. They feel guilty spending money on themselves and would instinctively give any extra they find to charity. Most of us aren't just one of these pure types. We are often combinations. The saver-splurger saves diligently for months, then suddenly blows it all in one go. The gambler loves the thrill of earning big and spending big, always chasing the next big risk. And the most common of all, the warrior. This person worries about money no matter how much they have. When they have it, they worry about losing it. When they don't have it, they worry about not having it. Their anxiety isn't really about money, it's a fear about life itself that they project onto their finances. Recognizing your own pattern is the first step toward changing it. It allows you to understand the why behind your actions. Why do you feel that jolt of anxiety when you spend? Why do you feel that compulsive need to save? It's not because you're bad with money, it's because you're running on an old program, a blueprint written long ago. But understanding your personality type is only part of the journey. The real transformation begins when we start to see money not as a thing to be hoarded or spent, but as an energy that flows. Think of it like a river. A healthy river is always in motion, receiving water from its source and giving water to the sea. It is this constant flow that keeps it clean, vibrant, and full of life. If you try to dam the river and stop its flow, the water becomes stagnant, murky, and dead. Money, Ken says, works in exactly the same way. It is a currency, and the root of that word is current, a flow. To live in a state of happy money is to live in a healthy, balanced flow. This means being open to both receiving and giving. When you receive money, whether it's your paycheck, a gift, or payment for your services, how do you feel? Do you feel a sense of guilt, as if you don't deserve it? Do you immediately feel the anxiety of all the bills you have to pay with it? Or do you allow yourself to feel genuine gratitude? Do you say thank you for the abundance flowing into your life? This is the act of receiving with an open heart. Then, when you spend money, what is your emotional state? Do you spend it with fear, worrying if you made the right choice or if you're being wasteful? Or do you spend it with joy and appreciation? When you buy groceries, can you feel gratitude for the food that will nourish your family? When you pay your electricity bill, can you feel appreciation for the light and warmth it provides? This is the act of giving with a happy heart. This is what Ken Honda's mentor, a man named Wahei Takeda, taught him. Wahei was known as the Warren Buffett of Japan, one of the most successful investors in the country, but he was also known as one of the happiest people anyone had ever met. His secret was incredibly simple. He told Ken, "The key is to thank your money when it comes in, and thank it again when it leaves you." In Japanese, the word for thank you is arigato. This simple practice of saying arigato to money transforms its energy. When you say arigato as you receive money, you are charging it with gratitude. You are acknowledging the value you provided to earn it. When you say arigato as you spend it, you are releasing it with love. You are thanking it for the service it provided you and blessing it on its journey to serve others. This creates a powerful, positive cycle. The more gratitude and joy you put into the flow, the more you will attract back into your life. Why does this work? Because, as Wahei Takeda also taught, humans are like magnets. Money is a neutral energy. It doesn't judge whether a person is good or bad. It simply flows where it is pulled. Some people become powerful magnets for money through a deep-seated desire born from pain and lack. They have a black hole in their heart that they try to fill with money, and this creates a powerful magnetic pull. This is why we sometimes see unkind or unethical people become incredibly wealthy. But there is another way to become a magnet, a much healthier and happier way. You can become a positive magnet by emitting the energy of love, joy, and service. When you love what you do, when you are passionate about helping others, and when you operate from a place of gratitude, you naturally attract people to you. And where people go, money flows. A restaurant owner who loves to cook and create a warm atmosphere for our guests will have a full house every night. A lawyer who is genuinely passionate about seeking justice for her clients will never lack for work. They aren't chasing money. They are chasing their purpose, and the money flows to them as a natural byproduct of the value and positive energy they are putting out into the world. This brings us to the core of the happy money philosophy: healing. You cannot simply decide to be grateful and have it magically work if you are still carrying around the deep money wounds from your past. You must first make peace with your history. This means going back to those painful memories, the arguments you overheard, the dreams that were denied, the feelings of shame or inadequacy, and looking at them with new eyes. It means looking at your parents not as villains, but as people who are also struggling, operating from their own damaged money blueprints. They were doing the best they could with the knowledge and emotional tools they had. When you can look at them with compassion, you can begin to forgive them. And just as importantly, you can begin to forgive yourself for any mistakes you've made with money. Forgiveness breaks the cycle of unhappy money. It releases the anger, resentment, and sadness that have been weighing you down, and it opens up the space for a new, healthier energy to flow in. So, how do we put all of this together and begin our journey into the flow of happy money, starting today? Ken Honda lays out 5 simple, powerful steps. First, shift out of the scarcity mindset. Recognize that the belief that there is never enough is a myth. The world is full of abundance, but you can only see it when you stop focusing on what you lack. This is a conscious choice you make every day. Instead of saying I can't afford it, ask, how can I afford it? Instead of lamenting what others have, focus on being grateful for what you have. Second, forgive and heal your money wounds. Look back at your past, not to dwell on the pain, but to understand it. See your parents and yourself with compassion. Forgive them. Forgive yourself. Let go of the old stories that no longer serve you. This is the essential step that clears the path for a new relationship with money to begin. Third, discover your unique gifts. Everyone is born with special talents, with something that brings them joy. Your most important job in life is to find out what that is and to share it with the world. When you are doing what you love, work no longer feels like work. It feels like play. And when you are in that state of joyful service, you naturally enter the flow of happy money. Fourth, trust life. So much of our money anxiety comes from a fear of the future. We worry that we'll lose our job, that we'll have a medical emergency, that we won't have enough to retire. This fear blocks the flow of abundance. Trusting life means believing that you will always have what you need, when you need it. It means knowing that you have the skills, the creativity, and the support network to handle whatever comes your way. Trust is the antidote to fear. And finally, the fifth step, say arigato all the time. This is the daily practice that ties everything together. Express gratitude for the money that flows into your life and for the money that flows out. This simple act keeps you in a constant state of appreciation and abundance. It turns every transaction, no matter how small, into an opportunity to create and spread happy money. In the end, the journey to happy money is not about learning how to get rich. It's about learning how to live richly. It's about redefining wealth not by the numbers in your bank account, but by the amount of joy, freedom, and peace in your life. It's about understanding that money is simply a tool, a current of energy that you can direct. You can use it to create more fear and separation, or you can use it to create more love, connection, and happiness in the world. The choice, as always, is yours. What will you choose? Commentary. When you finish a book like Happy Money, it feels less like you've read a financial guide and more like you've had a long, deep conversation with a wise old friend. In a world that is obsessed with hustle, with metrics, with stock charts and budgeting apps, Ken Honda's message is almost revolutionary in its simplicity. He's telling us that the most important financial skill we can learn has nothing to do with numbers. It has to do with our hearts. The most powerful lesson, for me, is the idea that our relationship with money is a reflection of our relationship with life itself. If we approach life from a place of fear, scarcity, and distrust, our financial lives will be filled with anxiety and struggle. But if we can cultivate an attitude of gratitude, trust, and service, our finances will naturally begin to reflect that abundance. It reframes the entire conversation from how do I get more, to how can I live more happily with what I have, and what I can give. This isn't about ignoring financial reality. It's about mastering the inner game of money, so that you can navigate the outer game with more peace and clarity. The book gives us permission to let go of the guilt, the shame, and the anxiety that so many of us carry around money. It shows us that these feelings are not our fault, they are inherited programs. And like any old software, they can be uninstalled and replaced with something new. So how can you start applying these profound lessons to your own life, right now? Here are a few simple actions you can take. First, for the next week, I want you to conduct a wallet check, just like the mysterious woman from the story. Every time you make a transaction, whether you're buying a coffee, paying a bill online, or receiving your paycheck, just pause for a single moment. Ask yourself, is this happy money or unhappy money? What emotion am I bringing to this exchange? Am I feeling resentment, or am I feeling gratitude? You don't have to change anything at first. Just notice. This simple act of awareness is the beginning of everything. Second, try the arigato practice for just one day. From the moment you wake up, every time money comes in or goes out, silently say arigato. Thank you. When you buy your lunch, thank the money for the meal you're about to enjoy. When you pay your phone bill, thank it for the connection it gives you to the people you love. Notice how this tiny shift changes your energy. It transforms a feeling of loss or obligation into a moment of appreciation. And third, ask one question. The next time you talk to one of your parents, or grandparents if you can, ask them a simple question about their past. Something like, what was money like for you when you were growing up? Listen to their story without judgment. You will be absolutely amazed at what you discover about the roots of your own money blueprint. That was a summary of Happy Money, The Japanese Art of Making Peace with Your Money by Ken Honda. We've touched on the core ideas today, but I'll be honest with you, a summary is like looking at a travel brochure. It can show you the beautiful pictures, but it can never replace the feeling of actually taking the journey yourself. The real magic happens when you read the book. It's in the quiet moments, when one of Ken's stories or a simple phrase resonates with a part of you that you didn't even know was wounded. This summary is your map, to help you decide if this is a journey you want to take. If anything we've talked about today has sparked a light in you, I encourage you to grab a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning, it's an experience that can genuinely heal the way you see yourself, your past, and your future. Also, if you found this summary valuable, and if it gave you a new perspective to think about, please take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. That way, you won't miss our next exploration into another life-changing book from the billionaire's bookshelf. Let's keep learning and growing together.